For those of you who don't know me, my name is Mr. Colin Holving, one of the guidance counselors here on staff. Unfortunately, our other guidance counselor, Mrs. Judy Van Scheppen, had to head home. She was not feeling well, so anywhere that you see her will be me, but there's going to be some other voices, so you don't have to hear from me all night. But there's a number of things that we kind of want to go through tonight as part of just kind of an information night for you in a couple different ways. Talk about some of the programs that we offer specifically for grade 11 as a transition from grade 10 to grade 11. In grade 9 and 10, a lot of the schedule is built on things that courses that you have to take. Grade 10 students, they get 2 electives, but then in grade 11 and 12, that's kind of when things really start to take shape, depending on what students are considering to do after high school. So we're going to kind of talk about those different pathways, what that looks like, kind of an overview of each of the pathways that you can take. And then we're going to look at My Blueprint, which is a tool that we use here a lot. It's the program that all of our students use to do their course selections, but they can do some research on it, both about themselves and looking into different career paths. So we actually have some grade 10 students in our environmental block TA, Abby Gear, that's going to walk through that. And then I'll go over some things as well. But to kind of kick off the night, Mrs. Janice DeBoer is going to open in devotions, and then we'll transition there to Mr. Renier.
Hello everybody, and welcome. As Colin said, my name is Janice DeBoer, and yeah, I'll just open us up with some devotions. Like most classes at TD Christian, our class starts every day by doing devotions together. I've been reading from this book by Louis Giglio, and it's called How Great Is Our God? In it, he explains how we can see God's hand in creation and science, and how those concepts can have a practical application to our personal lives. So I'm going to share a part of the devotion that he wrote about meerkats. And this is what he says. Meerkats are amazing, especially in the way they work together. They not only work together to dig out the underground burrows they call home, but also groom each other and hunt for food together. They even take turns babysitting and standing guard. But one of the most amazing ways they work together is when a predator attacks. If they can't make it back to their burrow, they'll stand together as one, hissing and growling, so the predator knows it's facing something much bigger than just one little meerkat. God made meerkats to work together. That's how he made us, too. Each of us has different skills and a different job to do, and all are important. From the preacher to the window cleaner, from the singer to the sandwich maker. Whatever God gives you to do it with all your heart and all your might. Be thankful for all the others who are doing their jobs too. Pray for each other, help each other, and encourage each other. And that's from Louis. And from me, just want to share a little bit about myself. I've had the privilege to work at both schools that my own children attend. Having worked at Orangeville Christian School when my 2 daughters were younger, and now here at TD Christian with our oldest in grade 11. I've always appreciated having the unique position of being both a parent and a staff member at the school. From a parent perspective, I get to witness firsthand the day-to-day interactions between staff and students. I hear staff members share their heart for the students they're working with. I see them come alongside, guide, and shepherd their students both in academic and in life lessons. I watch them share in the joy of success and collaborate with students when they're not quite there yet. As a teacher, I'm grateful to come alongside students and provide a space in the school for them to flourish. It's been amazing to see the students this year take on new challenges with an open mind, learn new things, and make connections with their peers. I'm so thankful to be able to be a part of all the learning that happens here on a daily basis. I'm grateful for parents like you here who desire to work together in community to build into the lives of their children. As we gather tonight, we are reminded that God has given each of us, parents, staff, and students, gifts that can be used today and in the future. With that in mind, I'm going to read a passage from Romans 12, verse 4 to 8. It says, "Just as our bodies have many parts, and each part has a special function, so it is with Christ's body. We are many parts of one body, and we all belong to each other. In His grace, God has given us different gifts for doing certain things well. So if God has given you the ability to prophesy, speak out with as much faith as God has given you. If your gift is serving others, serve them well. If you are a teacher, teach well. If your gift is to encourage others, be encouraging. If it is giving, give generously. If God has given you leadership ability, take the responsibility seriously. And if you have a gift for showing kindness to others, do it gladly." Let's begin with the word of prayer. Dear God, thank you for creating each of us in your image with unique gifts and talents. Thank you for this school and that it can be a place for our students to learn who they are and explore what that means for them in their life. We pray for them as they continue to find their place in this community and the world beyond these walls. Please be with their parents as they lead and guide them. Give them wisdom and strength as they navigate life with their families. Please be with our staff and school leadership. May you use us in a way that encourages and blesses each family that is a part of this community. Thank you for your spirit, and we pray for your presence as we continue on with this evening. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thanks very much, Janice. My name is Sean Van Erden, and I'm here to talk to you about the mentorship program. So I want to say two things at the start. The Ontario government requires in our senior grades that we start exploring careers that might be applicable to that subject area, that discipline. And so the school has invented this program called Mentorship, which is a cross-discipline program that all grade 11 students go through, and where they explore a career just for a few hours. So just hold that in mind for 1 second. But then I also want to take another angle. Here at TD, one of our concerns is for students to be able to have time and space in their educational journey to think about their lives and also to think about their vocation. And so that, I think, runs deeper than a career. That's deeper than a career path. And so we do that in a number of ways. But I think one way that we continue on in this journey is mentorship. So two things that this mentorship program is accomplishing. First, it gives students a hands-on opportunity to explore a career. And second of all, it gives space for the students to explore a vacation. Not a vacation, a vocation, a career. And so their goal is to do that. So now I just want to talk a little bit about some of the nuts and bolts here. So in grade 11, all students need to find a placement, and that lasts about 15 to 18 hours. They're supposed to do it with someone who is outside of their immediate family. But a lot of times what happens is that parents help the students to connect with colleagues or family friends or that sort of stuff. So parents are an instrumental part of this program in that way. The other thing to say is that, so then they go to the workplace. It's kind of a job shadow type thing, but what we hope is that the mentorships are a little bit more intentional, where the students have an opportunity to do things, to learn, to kind of be invested in that career. And then after that, after they do that, they come back to school and they put on a presentation for their classmates. So not only does each student get a chance to present about their experience and share that with the class, but the other students also get a chance to hear many different presentations about this. So actually we're going through this right now. I'm hearing a bunch of presentations myself, and I've already heard people who have explored the career of nursing. I heard one today about dairy trading, and it was fascinating. And I think that it's so interesting that there's so many different careers out there that I was not even aware of as I was going through high school. So I think that this is a good opportunity to do that as well. So this is just an early warning to start thinking about this, and maybe think about where you might go as a grade 10 student, or where you might encourage your son or daughter to go and do their mentorship during grade 11. I wanted to say one other thing. The other thing is this. If you're a parent and you have a job that you would like to share with a student, we love to have volunteers who are willing to take a student into their workplace, and for that you can earn up to 18 volunteer hours. So it can be a really good opportunity to earn those volunteer hours and participate in the school community. Next year, what we're doing is we're combining it with the grade 11 service trip. And so if you're on the service trip, you're not doing mentorship. But if you're not on the service trip, you're doing mentorship. So this can happen. So the first set of mentorship will happen in the middle of October, and the second set of mentorship placements will happen after March break in second semester. That's a bit of confusion here, but this will all come clear as you get the August mailing and find out your schedule for next year. I think that's all that I have to say. Are there any questions or thoughts? Yes? The mentorship program, so what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to go to a job for about 15 to 18 hours. So that usually works out to be about 2 or 3 days. Sometimes people do it just a couple of hours every day, but that's why anyways. This year what happened was they did it often during the break between semesters, and so that gives them like kind of weekdays to do this in, and so we're going to change that a little bit next year, but we're putting together the information on that. Well, we provide an official time to do it, and so, but you can definitely do it at whatever time. So if you did want to get ahead of the game and do it early, then that's a really wonderful idea to do as well. Yes?
How do we sign up to be a mentorship?
Okay, what you should do is send me a message. My name is Mr. Van Erden, so send me an Edsby message, and I would love to get that information. I'm the third guy. The other thing to say is that coming up in April, Mr. Hoving and Ms. Van Scheppen are putting on this career fair here at the school. So all grade 10s will get a chance to go around and hear different people talk about their careers. And this is a really great time for grade 10s to make connections with people who might end up being their mentor or that sort of thing. I just heard actually today that someone who was doing a mentorship at a pharmacy just got a job out of it, so that's also possible too. So it's a wonderful, wonderful opportunity. And I think when I first started working on this program, then I was thinking about how difficult it would be. But what I've learned watching these presentations and hearing about how the students have gone through the experience is how much of an opportunity it is to learn about something that could guide you for the rest of your life. Maybe you learn about a job that you always thought that you would like, but you end up realizing that that's not the career path for you, and then that sends you in a different direction. So just challenge and encourage you to think of it as a great opportunity for growth and discovery here. Are there any other questions? Yes?
What things do students have to do? Do they just go to the placement, or are there other assignments or work in preparation for or after?
There are a few. The presentation is the main thing, but I think at this point the main thing to focus on is just starting to think about where you might want to work and who in your life might be able to be a mentor for you. Yes?
Does the mentorship or placement have to be approved by the school, or does a legitimate?
No, it doesn't have to be approved. We trust as the students and families work with their mentors, then our only requirement, our only hope is that you would work with someone who was not your parent, so that you get another contact, another experience outside of the family circle. Any other questions? And to go with that, there's a wide range of possibilities and mentorship opportunities that could work in this situation. So, all right. So, I feel like I've been a little bit confusing, but I hope that this just helps to kind of like get you thinking about mentorship. And if you do have any more questions, please contact me, Mr. Van Aerden, on EDSP, and I will help to answer any of your questions you might have. Okay, now I'm going to turn it over to some clearer thinkers, William Groot and Mr. Terpstra.
Thank you, Sean, and welcome, John. There's a sheet on your table, and this is your ticket to getting your hours, because we really want to hear from you what we've done well tonight and what we can change. And every year we get some good suggestions. So I'll give you just a minute to catch up on what you thought of the welcome, and what you thought of the devotions, and so on, and what you thought of Mr. Van Aerden's presentation, because I suspect that he was a lot clearer than he thought he was. But if he wasn't, then we should know what kind of questions you have, so that again we can clarify that for next year. So just give you a moment to do that. And at the end of the night, they've just got to go in here. And as we say to our students, make sure your first and last name, because other people don't know who to give the hours to. You're all back in school, right? What can I say? It's always fun to see people here tonight. And Mr. Terpstra and I are going to talk a little bit about block programs. And some students and parents know exactly what a block program is. Does somebody want to answer that? What is a block program at TD Christian? Go for it, Holden.
2 or more courses.
2 more courses. So you take 4 courses, so you have 4 blocks?
4 courses.
All right. Combined. Aha. All right. So it's when you do more than one course combined together. So for example, I think you're an E-blocker, right?
Yep.
And you're doing a project tonight, aren't you?
Of course.
There you go. So you hear about that. So Isaac and Holden are actually doing a project for E-block, because in the afternoon, in second semester, for the entire afternoon, which is 2 periods, you're taking 3 courses: civics, careers, and green industries. And we have a number of different courses like that work in the school that we call block programs. And we started them, probably about 25 years ago. And they're really excited because they allow students to integrate different topics from different courses with usually more than one teacher. And in the environmental block case, we have people like Abby DeGeer, who's one of our TAs, who acts just like another teacher. And she's going to actually help the students work through the stuff there and the stuff you do later on. But we're going to talk about a number of different blocks that we have here. Some of them are not listed here, like physics block, which we've done a number of times, is also one for grade 12. But we're going to talk about a couple of blocks that a lot of people don't know about, because actually, environmental block, which we just talked about, and they may say some more about, and you can ask them questions about, is something that a lot of students already know about. So Mr. Terpstra and Mr. Van Aerden run the English and Perspectives block, and he's involved in internship block, and I'll say something about international block, but we've decided to go back and forth so that you don't hear us talk for a long time and not understand the different connections. So Mr. Terpstra, there's a microphone for you there, and I'll let you go and I'll sit down.
Yeah, I brought the chair up here not for me to sit, but for you. I think the stereotype is probably that I'll talk a little bit long. Hi, my name's John Terpstra. I've been a teacher here for a long time, 23 years. It was years ago when I started with Mr. Groot, and he was a math teacher. And it's been my pleasure to work here. It's been my pleasure to have my children go through here. And what I've become more and more convinced of is that education is richest when many strands are brought together. I remember going through high school myself and feeling very disconnected. Like there was English class and it had its own sphere, and then there was this history class over here and had its own sphere. And it was tough to remember because you're constantly categorizing and pigeonholing. This goes with this goes with this goes with this. When I think what life really is about is much more about integration. That certain things are happening at the same time other things are happening. And you could read the Magna Carta, while you're studying the history of Europe. So many things that connect together give automatic connections in people's minds as well. So when the opportunity came for us to do a block class, and this goes back years ago, Sean, it must be 13, 15 years ago that we started this. Block classes can be done a number of ways. Holden's right, it's just 2 or more classes kind of put together. Now you can have two sections together in one room, and then have 2 teachers in the room, tag teaming together. Or you can have one teacher doing 2 separate courses for a whole afternoon. What we've chosen to do is continue to teach what we love to teach, but work together, and I would say almost on a daily basis. Sean and I meet, even if it's just to talk about coffee. We meet together and touch base on where our classes are. So we do English Perspectives block in the mornings for grade 11 students. Now, half the grade 11 students get English Perspectives in the first semester, the other half get it second semester. But it's really nice for me as a teacher because I start with the Bible, or if you want to call it Perspectives block, first period, at the same time that Sean's teaching English 11, right across the hall. Second period, we just swap the classes. So then I teach the other class and he teaches my class that just came from period 1. In conjunction with that, we dovetail our curriculum so that students aren't left with a sense that somehow this is all disconnected stuff and just belongs to subject area. But they understand the book Life of Pi really well because they've already studied the background of Hinduism, Islam, Judaism, and Christianity with me. So they have a sense of what the worldviews are that are prevalent in the book. When we talk about themes and the ethos perhaps even of a historical age, it's nice that I know that Sean has already read or taught the kids this beautiful poem called Wild Geese that I can draw upon when I'm teaching about a culture that we live in right now, quite a relativistic culture. So the idea of the English Perspectives block is we still have 2 teachers, we still have 2 courses, but those courses are seen together. When Sean does, Mr. Van Aerden does a project, he does an incredible project where it's called Metaphorical Me, and students have to create something that represents who they are and then explain the layers of that metaphor. Ties right in with what I'm doing when we're talking about, what do I believe to be true about this universe? What worldview, what perspective development do I have? The writing assignments, the service trip, even the mentorship. Sean, I think there was good clarity because what came through for me from your introduction is that mentorship gives students a sense and an opportunity to try something, to figure out a little bit more of who they are, which fits perfectly with what we're doing in English and Perspectives. I think somebody told me a long time ago, every teacher has a 3-string banjo. 3 strings that they're constantly plucking. That if you know the teacher, you know exactly what they're going to say. And one of mine is that what we strive to build in our students is a sense of vocation. That there are jobs that you have to do, for sure. But with perspective and with a deep biblical grounding, those jobs fail to be just jobs. Anything, when done for the Lord, is kingdom work. Anything. And our lives become incredibly rich. And in that context, then our own voices and what we do with our lives becomes really, really important. Then there's nothing really that is meaningless. Everything takes on incredible meaning. Our lives are charged with eternal seconds. And for students to see that vocation is rooted in the Latin word voce, or voice, they stop worrying about necessarily what they're going to do with the rest of their life. And they start worrying about who am I and what do I believe to be true? Who am I? What do I love to do? What would I want to get my homework done so fast so that I can do this? What is it? I'll talk in a few minutes. I'll come back on here, and I'll talk a little bit about the other block class that I'm part of, the co-op and internship block. And I spent my day-to-day in sheer joy, because I got a kid who hates school. He has hated school since the day he came in. I don't know if this kid failed at the beginning and then got beaten down, or whether or not he just struggled right from the get-go and gave up and then allowed the beating to happen. I don't know, but he just hates school so much. He didn't have a co-op opportunity lined up. He sits every single day in the nook. No, it's the atrium. He's downstairs in the atrium with his electric guitar plugged in, playing everything from Iron Maiden to whatever. And this kid is good. The kid shreds. It's all integrated well.
You just told him, make sure I don't bleed the two together.
I'll bleed the two together. Anyway, I just looked at him and I said, "Who are you?" He says, and out of the blue he says, "I'm a guitarist." I said, "Yeah, you are. You're a guitarist. Now go find something to do that feeds your soul." So he went downtown, not Milton, Port Credit. First time there today, actually. I drove out there to see him. And there's a music store there called LA Music. So I go up to the front door. I got my little do-a-tang ready, because I'm the teacher kind of guy, right? I like school. I'm good at school. And him not so much. But he can play guitar. So I get to the window, and the door's locked. And I'm like, okay, this kid forgot to tell me whether he's going to be there or not. This is crazy. And then all of a sudden, a bunch of guys come to the door. They open the door for me. It's by invitation only, VIP. I walk in, it's a museum of guitars. There's Les Pauls, there's 3 Eddie Van Halen's guitars. It's just a wall of gorgeous guitars. And this kid greets me at the door and he says, "Thank you for coming, Mr. Terpstra. I want to show you some stuff." And it became this presentation of learning. He was taking strings off these beautiful guitars, one that's $10,000, and he was cleaning the fretboard. And he was talking about his future. And he said out loud, he says, "Yeah, maybe someday, I'll take my guitar in here and maybe give it a clean, but I don't want to wreck it." And the owner of the store stopped him and said, "You know what, we've talked about this, kid. You're going to stay here, you're going to be serious about your life. You're going to be affirming, and you're going to say, yeah, you're going to bring that guitar in here, you're going to clean it. Don't put limitations on yourself." And I just stepped back and thought, how many times I said that to that kid? So, you put your own limitations on you. Something snapped. He's found his voice. He's going to be a guitarist. He's going to work with guitars. He's going to work with music. So this idea of integration is really important for me. Sean and I work together on this course, period 1 and period 2, back to back, and then they leave, and then we start second semester, and we're 2 weeks in with a new group of students, and we go on service trips together. We watch our movies together. We do our projects together. It's really a beautiful thing, because in the end, it's all tied together anyway. And sometimes I think what schools do is we take God's beautiful creation and we break it apart into tiny little pieces and study the minutiae. Ask anybody who got their doctorate degree, whether they got more broad or more specific. But it turns out an ENT doesn't stand for entomologimalula kind of doctor. It's just ear, nose, throat, right? You stop looking at the whole body and you just specialize and you specialize. And there's a time and a place for that. But I think at the high school level, if we can look at God's creation in a holistic way and see that there were things written at the same time that people were doing these things. And it turns out, folks, that there was a whole lot of history happening in the East while we taught nothing but Western Civ when we were in the 80s in high school. Lots of stuff was going on. And in the Arabic world, much was going on. In fact, they were developing our number system, I think. So I think with integration comes depth. And with depth comes discernment. And that's what TD is about. It's about more than just accumulation of knowledge. We want our students to discover their voice. Block classes, mentorship programs, and whatever Mr. Groot's going to say, and then whatever I'm going to say after that, is all part of a much bigger picture of us living our lives before the face of God. And block classes are beautiful because it allows us to do it in a holistic way. I'll give it back to Mr. Groot.
Thank you, John. And this is the one block that everybody has to take. Because every year, some students go like, "Oh, I don't want to take them together." And he said, "You have to take them together," because that allows you to do what John has been talking about. And that's just really, really important. I'm going to talk a little bit about International Block, which is a program that has run for many, many years in many different forms. And if you really want to find more about International Block, there are two people tonight that can tell you about that. One is Rachel Weaning, who's done that many times in Central America, Honduras, and then mostly in the Dominican Republic. And then Ms. Morales is also here, and she's the person who we're exploring working at a new international block in Colombia. Unfortunately, our partners at EduDale said that students cannot be part of International Block if they're under 18. So that meant we couldn't run the program this year, so we said, now what is the next possibility? So Ms. Morales, who's right here, just put your hand up so people know who you are, did a trip in Colombia and said, I think there's a possibility for us at TD to partner with people in Colombia, in Cartagena, where there's a real deep need. The difficulty with that is that we have to change what International Block looks like. And it's going to look like a 2-week program in the summer, so that if you want to get an extra credit in the summer, usually from the middle of July, there's a 2-week program. There'll be some lead up to that, and then there'll be a 2-week, 14-day opportunity to actually go to Cartagena and work with the people there in terms of learning how to serve with them in that place. So this year we're going to go, if possible, if we get 15 people, and they don't have to be students, you can go as a family, you can take your friends, just to see what it's like. We're going to hopefully send a teacher or two down there to develop a program so that next year, in September, we'll say, are there people who are interested in taking this summer co-op program from about the beginning of July till probably about the 22nd, 23rd, we'll have some presentations and they can get an extra credit in the summer. Or they might say, you know what, I want to do this program, so I'm going to take 3 courses in second semester, take a spare, and then I'm going to go to Colombia for my International Block experience. So we're just developing that, but the whole idea again of International Block is, how do I see the world in a different way? How do I work with people in different places who are vibrant Christians who are working in a different context? And that was the beauty of the Dominican Republic and of Honduras, is we're going there and learning from the people there about how to serve and work with them. It's an educational service trip. It's not us doing something for them as much as we're doing something with them for the furtherance of God's kingdom. So that's something that interests you. You can write this down on your sheet right now or on your phone. On March the 20th, there's going to be a Zoom meeting, and we'll send the information out at the Week of TD Christian, so you can find out more about that opportunity for this year. Or if you say, you know what, I want to get a credit, and I want to do it the following year, we can set that up. Because if we don't have enough people to run it this year, we're still going to do everything we can to figure out how to run the program for a credit in the summer of 2025. Right? And that will be hopefully our new International Block program that will allow students to continue to develop their talents and gifts and understand that from a Colombian perspective. Did I miss anything?
No.
Okay. And she's right here, so you're going to talk to her after. She's more than willing to tell you about it, but otherwise you can go to the Week of TD Christian. You can click on the video, and she'll tell you everything about it there as well. And now I'm going to turn it back to Mr. Terpstra to talk about Internship Block. And I'm not going to stand up here anymore because I'm going to sit back there. Thank you.
Okay, round 2. Well, you know what my mornings look like. There's 4 periods in a day. Period 1, I start with a perspectives class. Period 2, I do the other perspectives class. And in the afternoons, I have a similar situation where I am teaching with another colleague. His name is Joel Sharda. He's not here this evening. But we work together on something called Internship Block. It's kind of like mentorship, but much bigger. It's longer and it lasts the whole semester. And the idea behind it is this. There are a lot of students who want to have some level of experiential education. Now, in past years, because of the push of academics for university, and because our students who want to, definitely geared toward university, fill up their schedule with, grade 11, 12, with 3 sciences, 3 maths, and doing everything they can to, prepare themselves for this post-secondary life. And it didn't really leave them a lot of room in their schedule. But something happened culturally, and I'm going to throw COVID in there just because everybody does, but I think it started before COVID. Our government is already, there's rumors when it comes to, Ministry of Education, about reintroducing something like a 5th year, or what did we call it when I was there? Grade 13. After that, OAC. Yeah. There was a recognition that before students would go to university, that they would have some time of development and maturity. Okay. Hand in hand with that from psychology and sociology, I think we can all pretty much agree that a kid 17 today is not as mature as a kid 17 5 years ago or 10 years ago. Right? We are maturing at a slower rate. Even look at our marriages. 20, 30 years ago, people got married around 20, 22 years old. Last year or 2 years ago, the Canadian average for a male to get married in this country was 31.7. Okay, something has shifted. So we're not really doing always a great job with addressing that, as our grade 12s are scared. And I think a lot of them would report, I know you're primarily grade 10 parents, but a lot of our grade 12 parents would report that they don't feel like their kids are ready to go. And the kids, because I teach families in Canada as well, will definitely report that they don't feel ready to go. There's a lot of anxieties, a lot of stress. School is packed in. You know what happened with the math curriculum, in the last 10 years of compressing things, and there's a lot of pressure on kids. So in the past, co-op was always an option for students who kind of weren't going to university. Let's just call it. Right? They would get the experiential education because they had room in their schedule because they weren't taking physics 12, math 12, or even worse, we don't even call it math 12. We have weird names like functions. And the other one was really bad. Algebra, no.
Calculus and vectors.
Calculus and vectors. I can barely even say it. Like, I'm not the math guy. So we've made things incredibly compressed and very, not difficult, well, difficult for students. It's a lot to do at a time when kids are less mature. And I'm not saying that they're less mature, they can't act in social situations. I'm not saying they're less socialized, but I think there's a level of maturity that's missing. So when we took away grade 13 in OAC, we're putting 17-year-olds, I was 17 because my birthday was in November, 17 in university. And a lot of our students would report they have no idea where they're going. They just know that the parents want them to go. And there's money saved in those wonderful things called RESPs. So there's money if you're going to do this, right? So these kids are lined up to go to universities. Last year we saw the very first big drop in our school culture with 66 of our students heading out to university. More students are electing a gap year. More students are electing to, get a job or take some time off. And my concern is that those things might not build the maturity that people are looking for. Now, I have a dream, like a big dream that someday high school will go back to a 5-year program, that we could institute experiential learning as part of everybody's program. I'm not authorized to say that. I have no idea how scheduling works for the schools, but I think there's something essential about experiential learning. So last semester when I did co-op, I was visiting kids at the job site, no question. But I also visited a girl who knows that in order to get into life sciences at McMaster, her dream school, she's not getting in now without volunteer hours. Lots of them. So she organized a co-op. And what we did is we created this internship block. So during second semester, a student will take math and English on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at the school. 2 periods of each, math and English. And on Tuesdays and Thursdays, they go to a placement of their choice. They track it down like a mentorship, and they're there for the semester. Which explains why I'm down at LA Music this morning in Port Credit, and then I turned on my truck and I drove from there all the way to that other town, Cambridge, and I went to see one of the coolest engineering fabricating things I've ever seen. Hacksmith, they do a YouTube channel, and we got a kid that's in there, like incredible. I don't know how it happened, but he's landed in this incredibly viral YouTube experience of these guys putting together things and producing things. And I've got a whole bunch of, I got a girl just down the road here who's gonna get a visit on Monday, and she's at an esthetician clinic. She wants to work with hair and nails and even experienced, higher up stuff, getting involved. But I think the culture needs to change. Co-op, or what I want to call experiential learning, shouldn't be limited to students who just traditionally struggle with school. What if every kid at TD had the opportunity to try something? One student was registered for co-op this semester, told me, "Sir, I'm not going to do it." Why not? She says, well, because I can't seem to find anything that that I think is really what I'm going to do. And I said, well, the purpose of co-op is to figure out what you don't want to do. The chances of figuring out exactly what you're going to do with the rest of your life by going to a co-op is pretty slim. But if you work at a grocery store and everybody who comes through that door annoys you because you can't have the time you need to focus and put the toilet paper away properly, that tells you you might like working with stuff rather than people. But if you drop the toilet paper so that you can help the old lady who says, Sonny, and you jump up because, oh, this is awesome, somebody's talking to me, you're probably going to work with people. It's guidance counseling all the way. So I would love to see more and more students involved in this integrated block called internship block. Give the students a semester. Yes, it might mean, like especially if your student is one that wants to go to university, it might mean an extra semester at high school. But if they're going to graduate at 17, 18 and they're listless and they don't know what they're going to do, or they don't know what they're going to do at university and end up coming back after a semester, you're really not any further ahead. So I'm a big advocate for students getting out there, finding something they're interested in, and finding out whether that meshes with their own voice. And if not, then why? What parts of it mesh with their voice? Universities are leading the charge on this, folks. University of Waterloo, they've got this figured out. They're marketing their 5-year co-op program. They've been doing it for years. My daughter just finished University of Waterloo math. She had 5 co-ops. She did math, business from Laurier. On the day she graduated, she got her diploma from Laurier in business. She walked across and got her diploma in pure math from Waterloo. She had 5 offers, standing offers from every one of those co-ops. She had her choice because she worked for them and they know what they're getting. Incredible. Universities, I'm counseling, students and families in Canada. If you get a choice and one of them is a co-op program, take the co-op program. You get experience, but it doesn't have to wait till then. We're doing it here. We have 15 students. Mr. Shard is teaching them on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, their English, and Mr. Hagan and a bunch of other teachers are taking care of the math. And I spend my Tuesday and Thursday afternoons on the road, visiting. Got a student who's working at an old age home. The guy's ripped. He's just a monster. He's a weightlifter. And he takes old people, he helps them onto the bus, he carries them onto the bus, he takes them to bocce 3 days a week, and he helps them with bocce ball. That guy is going to be a trainer. He's going to help people deal with their bodies, and he's going to help people walk that road. It's beautiful. But they have to have that opportunity. I think some of it used to be taken care of by part-time jobs, but that's also on the decline. So if we take away the part-time jobs, because as I've heard a million times, being a student is your full-time job. I think one of the greatest things to tell overly busy, stressed kids is get a job. It's going to force you to do some real-time management. It's going to give you an opportunity to figure out what you're good at. It's going to give you affirmation from a job who sees a boss who sees a job well done. It's going to give you a lot of things that you might be missing if you don't ever step out of school. So this is me pushing hard. I believe in experiential education. I think this internship block is the greatest thing ever. Let them take 3 days a week in school, get their credits, and the other 2 credits, because you get 4 per semester, they get English and math, and then the other 2 credits they earn by taking care of this. And by the end of the semester, they'll have somewhere between 220 and 330 hours in an area that they love. And if you're applying to med school after that, you've got 220 hours in a clinic. That's what Candelina did last year. She's lining up for a university now. So I encourage you to think about internship block, think about expanding the high school experience, and thinking about what a real practical look might be like, and what benefits there are for a student to explore what they're good at and what they're interested in. So you see my life now, period 1 and 2, 3 and 4, I'm on co-op. I couldn't be happier. Unless this weather would get even better, I could get on my motorcycle and do all my visits on the bike. This is the greatest life I could ever have crafted. I'm doing what I love, and I wish that for my students too. Thank you.
One quick thing. You can do this in grade 11 or in grade 12, and a number of students have started their apprenticeships that way. So they're able to actually be apprentices already too. What's your question?
Yeah, two of them. Like the first one about the percentage of students that you said this year you have a drop in terms of like the drop that you observed, is that specific to TB or is it common to some other Christian school or all of us put in entirely?
I will answer the question because I do the stats. All right? So on average, 65%, it's 2 out of 3 students at TD go to university. Last year we had 21 students who did a gap year. Out of 100 graduates, 20 of them didn't know where to go. So they deferred to go to university or they deferred to go somewhere else. So is that a trend across schools? Yes. More and more people are trying to figure out, what am I going to do? I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a year to figure that out. Some of them are coming back here. So this year I think we had 6 students who came back for a 5th year. There are a number of students, I think we have already 7 next year are coming back for a 5th year. So it is a trend across the province that more and more people are taking more time to figure out what they're going to do.
So what is the is there a link between the internship that you spoke about at the beginning and the internship block?
Mentorship is a experience that everybody does for 3 days in their grade 11 year, or 15 to 18 hours, as Mr. Van Eerden said. Internship block is mentorship on steroids because it's for a whole semester. That's basically it. Isn't it?
Well said.
Yeah. Mr. Hoven.
All right, so talk about some specific things, and then a lot, especially for parents and students of grade 10s, are kind of navigate what is kind of next and what that's going to look like. So a lot of the conversations that Mrs. Van Scheppen and I have been having over the last few weeks is meetings with students or calls with parents, whatever that looks like, of how to set up for the next 2 years in terms of courses and what are the different pathways. So I'm going to kind of do some high level of just kind of going through, university, college, Bible college, and kind of some of the requirements for that and what does that look like, so that if your son or daughter is looking to go down a certain pathway and they have ideas of that already, just some of the requirements that looks like to help shape them with that and the planning that they're doing. So it'll kind of be up here. I'll kind of read some of them too. But see, these are a lot of the questions that are coming up. So if the big thing that we kind of stress in the guidance office is keeping options open. So whether you're for sure like I'm going to university after grade 12 or I'm thinking about it, we encourage students to take as many U-level courses as possible. So further on in the evening, Abby Gear has been gracious enough when she goes through the My Blueprint thing to actually show her high school planner up. So then you'll be able to see a visual of what that looks like. But as your son or daughter is going through the course selections, which we launched last week, so hopefully they've talked to you about it by now. Some of them have submitted them already, and then they're due next week. But as they're going through, and then so for example, the first thing they're going to look at is English, because that's a required course for all 4 years. They're going to click on English, and then it's going to say, do you want to take it at the university level, the college level? So you're going to pick one of those 2 options. And then that is going to kind of dictate where you're heading. If you take English at the college level, and you take it at 11 and 12 at the college level, then when you're doing your applications, then you are applying for college. If you do it at the university level, that's leaving the option open to apply for university, or you could also use that for college. So those are kind of some of the different considerations as you're going through that. And you'll see that up here as well. So the big thing, the question that comes out that we get all the time is the 6 university or M-level courses for university. So as a grade 12 student, 6 of your courses need to be at the university level. Any university that you go to, you're going to need your grade 12 university English, and then it becomes program specific from there. So whether you need a certain math course, whether you need a certain science course, if you're doing a humanities, is there a certain humanities course that you need? And then the kind of the specifics from there, and then the overarching 6 of your courses need to be at the university level. So that kind of walks through there, and then the big thing that I've kind of talked about there is the prerequisites in grade 11. So even if you're not sure what you're going to do, keeping your options open. So saying, I'll take chemistry 11 at the university level because if I need chemistry in grade 12, I need the prerequisite from grade 11. So again, it's a challenging spot for students because they might not know what they want to do, but they have to have some considerations in place because if they want to keep some options open, they have to look at that. So similar for college in terms of, what do you need to do for that? And college is really kind of expanding as well. Before it was, you went and there was specialized programs, but there still is at the college and university level. But they're doing things like having, hybrid degree programs or being able to get a 4-year degree at the college level, depending on the things that they're setting up. Really heavy on co-ops and internships there, which Mr. Terpstra talked about. So students that are identifying, what are some things that I want to do, and then what are some programs that I'm looking at doing that, as a hands-on learner, what can I look at doing? But again, degree programs available there as well. So again, just considering what are the courses that you need to take, whether it's a college level course. Predominantly at the college program level, you're going to need your English 12, which is a required course for everybody, whether you're going to college or university. And in a lot of cases, a Math 12 course, and whether that's at the college or university level. And then from there, that's kind of what they're looking at, the college and the math, to make sure you have that at the grade 12 level. And then again, if there's any specific courses you need for program specific. And then again, as it kind of outlines there, there's a whole range now with more degree programs at the college level, whether it's a 1 year, 2, 3, 4, and even 5 if there's a co-op level there as well. So those are kind of obviously the big two that you talk about a lot at the university and college, 2 options there. And then some things more specific, and then Mr. Group mentioned, I'll get to the stats at the end, but some other avenues that our graduates take. So Christian University, many have heard of Redeemer in Hamilton. We always have some students each year that go to Redeemer and partnership there. And then there's the few in the States with Calvin, which is in Michigan, Dordt, which is in Iowa. Sporadically have students heading that way as well. Not as much as before, but some options there too. So again, just the reminders of, although it's at the Christian level, still same requirements of having 6 university courses, a lot of liberal arts programs, but again, that's really changing too. Redeemers kind of got more specific with programs that they're doing, kind of zeroing in on some different things. We have a student that I met with last week. She's in grade 11. She's looking to go into Redeemer, and she's like, I want to major in religion and then minor in psychology. So there's options for that to kind of do the major minor, making sure that you have all the courses for that. And then Bible college, again, just keep coming into examples. I had a parent I talked to today. Their daughter's looking at doing a 1-year Bible college out west for next year. So just kind of looking to make sure all the requirements are in place. And then that kind of takes students along many different pathways, whether that's then from the 1-year program into a college or university program, or do they go into the workforce? What does that look like? But again, it's a bridge to what Mr. Terpstra talked about of still identifying what do I want to do after high school, so I can do this great 1-year program to give me some more time to kind of consider what that looks like. Obviously, spend a year with other Christians who are growing in their faith as well, and then make some decisions off of that. So again, there's the 1-year, experiential programs, which we have students that go out west or they go internationally and do the 1 year, usually tied to YWAM, so Youth with a Mission. But then there's also the Bible college programs that could be the 1, 2, 3, or 4 years. Yeah, and then we've talked a lot about, Mr. Terpstra talked on a lot about it, and I've kind of touched base on a few of them here, the gap year program. So, they finish off grade 12, and they're saying, I'm going to take a year, and there's a number of considerations that they take. So they defer, they've applied this year to a college or university program, they deferred it for 1 year. A lot of students in that case are saying, I'm going to work for a year to save some money for school, or just need some more time to just grow up a little bit more. Students work for a year, just need a little bit of a break in between, travel. Act 5 is a program that some of you may have heard of. It was in partnership with Redeemer. University previously, but now they are independent. We've partnered them with them as a school, so there's supports that we provide to Act 5 in partnership. And it's also our partner for our grade 11 service trips, and that's something that started this year. So we went to Hamilton in first semester, and we'll head there again in a month with our grade 11 class. And we partner with them to serve in downtown Hamilton, and then just be partners in the program that we work together to put that on for our grade 11s. So we, in the past few years, we've had at least one student go through that one-year program. And again, then they take that and they springboard into something else.